That is a big misconception. A lot of people think that you have to qualify for a duplex, triplex, or quadplex the same way that you would qualify for a single family residence, but that's not the case. So you can. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of The Real Deal. This week, we're going to be talking about investment properties. Now, we're talking about 2 to 4 unit properties. This is very relevant. I recently had a client that closed on her first triplex. And I posted this on my social media, and I had a lot of people reach out and just ask questions. And most of the questions were around how much money do you need? Can I do this if I already own a home? Is this only for first-time home buyers and all that good stuff? So we'll go over some of the basic information. But first, let's talk about what exactly a duplex, triplex, or quadplex can, what is that, right? What constitutes as a duplex, triplex, or quadplex? Now, it doesn't have to be completely detached units, right? This could be a structure, a house that has, split walls and it has 2 completely separate, living areas. This is something that is very common in older neighborhoods. I've seen them in the older parts of Peoria. I've seen them in Fountain Hills. These are just duplexes where they have a dividing wall in the middle. And then there's also triplexes, which, the name says it right there. There's 3 units. Now, those are a lot less common than duplexes. And that's just because this is something that was done mainly back in the 60s and 70s. It's really hard to find anything that's new because it's just something that was done, many years ago. And same with quadplexes. I have seen those, some of the historic neighborhoods. So they are rare finds. They're not that common, but they are out there. And it's going to be a matter of finding a good balance between what the mortgage amount would be, what the payments would be, versus what your potential income is going to be. It has to make sure that it cash flows. If it doesn't cash flow, then it's not going to be a smart investment. Some people just want to have a area or a house where they can live and they can still be, rent free. So they want to be able to rent either 2 or 3 of the other units while they live in one of the units, and that's totally possible. That's exactly what my client is doing. That purchased this triplex. So she purchased 2 of the units were already, currently being leased out, and then there was the 1 vacant one. She moved in. It worked out perfect. And the great thing when you have these units is that you can find ways to increase the value and increase the likelihood that renters are going to pay more for that. And some of the ideas that she has is, for example, adding a laundry room to all 3 units. Currently, they don't have laundry rooms. So as a renter, as a tenant, that's a huge, plus side. If you didn't have it before and now you do have your own private laundry room, that's great. It's not going to cost her a ton of money to do that for each individual unit. And then she also has much more ambitious goals of actually, as she did her research already, city codes, and she does have the option to add an additional level on top, and then making it a bigger property that rents with more bedrooms, and that'll give her more cash flow. So there's a lot of different ways. That's the cool thing, is once you get your hands on one, you can increase the rent and you can try to get more money out of them. So they are a very smart investment if it is for you. You got to think about it this way. This particular client went from a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. She had her 2 older kids are already out of high school on their way to college. Her 3rd oldest is already going to be a junior in high school. She has 1 little one left at home. So she went from a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house to a 1-bedroom house. So you have to be okay with making those type of sacrifices if you want to go into the investment mindset. Now, this is the cool thing though. After she's been living there for about a year, she can go ahead and do this again. She can now rent that 3rd unit out, and then she can find another property, and then she can do it again and again and again. So it's a really great way to build your long-term wealth, get some cash flow, get you some passive income. So let's talk about some of these down payment questions, right? So with duplex, triplex, and quadplex, if you're using conventional financing, which is going to be the best type of financing because it's going to give you the lowest possible monthly payment if you put 20% down, and you're going to get a quicker return on investment. These will require you to put 20% down. So obviously, if you have equity from your current primary residence and you're looking to sell that and buy your next unit, that's the smartest thing to do, is put 20% down so that your monthly payment can be lower, and you're going to get money a lot quicker. You're going to get some of that money back with the, because your mortgage payment is going to be lower. However, if you're not currently, if you can't put 20% down, if you currently don't own a home to sell, and this is just your first time buying a house, and this is what you want to get into, this is the first thing that you want to do. You can get FHA financing for these units, and the great thing is you only have to put the minimum down of 3.5%. Now, typically for a single family residence, so just a regular house, you can finance up to $369,000 with FHA financing. They just increased that recently. But when it's a duplex and a triplex and a quadplex, that amount goes up, so that way you can qualify for much more than you traditionally could. And I don't have those off memory, but here I wrote them down. So for a duplex, for example, the FHA limit goes up to $456,000. For a triplex, $551,000, and a quadplex, $685,000, which is great because these units are going to be more expensive. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, I'm a single income. If I can't qualify for a $700,000 house, I can't qualify for a $500,000 house, right? That is a big misconception. A lot of people think that you have to qualify for a duplex, triplex, or quadplex the same way that you would qualify for a single family residence, but that's not the case. So you can actually use the rents that you're already rent. So if the units are already renting out, or if you have a history of the rents, you can use the proposed rents to offset the mortgage payment. And that's the beauty of it. So, if you're buying a triplex, for this client, for example, and she could qualify for a single family residence all day, but for the triplex at the price point that it was, if she was qualifying, just like if it was a single family residence, she wouldn't qualify. But the cool thing is 2 of the units were rented. So she was able to offset her mortgage payment by that. So she was able to qualify for this much larger price point. And this applies in those higher price points too, as long as the rents support it. So, even though it might be a $700,000 property, if the rents support that quadplex, if those units are renting for $2,000 a unit, it's going to offset the mortgage payment. So even though you might be working, and you're making decent income, but obviously, you can't qualify for a $700,000 house, you can potentially qualify for a $700,000 quadplex or triplex if it makes financial sense, which is awesome. That's a great thing. And like I said, that's something a lot of people don't know. So that kind of gives you an idea of how possible it is to be able to get yourself into this investment mindset and start purchasing some of these multi-unit properties, that it is absolutely possible. Now, once you get past the quadplex, it becomes commercial. So anything 5 units or bigger, you have to go, it's a completely different process. It's commercial lending. You have to get a different type of loan. It's not just your typical 3.5% down that you can get away with FHA financing, or 20% down if you're doing conventional financing. So this is only going to work if we're talking about duplex, triplex, and quadplex units. So hopefully this gives you a good general idea of how easy it is really to obtain one of these properties, and how easy it is to potentially live rent-free, mortgage-free, or after a year of living there, now you have a property that's cash flowing you and giving you money as opposed to you paying money, and then you just do it again and again and again. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. This was a great experience for my client. I look forward to helping her with her next investment opportunity. Thank you much, and have a great day.